Right now, you were trapped, not in a room, not in a country, in a dimension. You move left and right, forward and backward, up and down, three directions, three axes, three dimensions. And no matter how hard you try, no matter how fast you run or how high you climb, you will never move in a fourth direction. Not because it does not exist, but because your brain was never built to perceive it. And the strangest part? Mathematically, it almost certainly does exist, and you are probably living inside it right now without knowing it. So why can you not see it? Why can you not feel it? And what would it actually look like if you could? To answer that, you need to think about something much simpler first. Imagine a world with only two dimensions, a perfectly flat world, like a sheet of paper. Everything there has width and length, but no height. The beings that live there move left, right, forward, and backward. They have never experienced up or down. Those directions simply do not exist for them. Now imagine you reach your hand down and push your finger through that flat world. To a two-dimensional being, something extraordinary happens. A circle appears from nowhere. It expands, then contracts, then disappears completely. The being has no framework to understand what just happened. It cannot perceive the third dimension your finger came from. It only sees the cross-section left behind. You are that two-dimensional being. When a four-dimensional object passes through our world, you do not see the object. You only see its shadow, its cross-section. This is not a metaphor. This is geometry. The mathematics behind it has been understood for over a century. The man who first made this rigorous was German mathematician Bernhard Riemann. In 1854, he developed a framework for spaces of any number of dimensions. Riemann showed that the geometry you learned in school only works for ordinary three-dimensional space. Curve that space, or add dimensions, and the rules change completely. Parallel lines can meet. The shortest path becomes a curve. A shape can have an inside without an outside. His mathematics was so far ahead of its time that it sat almost unused for decades. Then Albert Einstein used it to describe gravity itself. According to general relativity, gravity is the curvature of four-dimensional spacetime and one dimension of time. You are already living in four dimensions. You simply experience the fourth one as time. But physicists mean something even stranger when they talk about higher dimensions, not time, another spatial direction. If only your body and senses were built differently. So why would such dimensions exist? Because the mathematics of the universe seems to demand them. In the 1980s and 1990s, physicists working on string theory found something astonishing. Their equations only worked if the universe contained 10 or even 11 dimensions. The extra dimensions are not invisible because they do not exist. They are invisible because they are curled into unimaginably tiny structures, too small for any instrument humanity has ever built to detect. Physicist Machio Kaku compares them to a garden hose. From far away it looks one-dimensional. Up close another dimension appears wrapped around it. But your inability to perceive these dimensions is not just about size, it is about neurology. Your brain builds reality using information from your senses. It never learned to represent a fourth spatial direction. Not because it cannot, but because evolution never gave it the necessary data. Neuroscientist David Eagleman explains that reality is actually a model, and the brain changes the model. You cannot perceive the fourth dimension for the same reason someone born blind cannot imagine color. It is not a lack of intelligence, it is simply a lack of input. Yet there is something your mind can do that your senses cannot. It can imagine higher dimensions mathematically. A point has 0 dimensions. A line has 1. A square has 2. A cube has 3. Extend that cube in a direction perpendicular to all 3 existing dimensions, and you get a hypercube, also called a tesseract. A tesseract has 16 vertices, 32 edges, and 24 square faces. You cannot see it, you cannot hold it, but mathematics can describe every one of its properties perfectly. You can even rotate it through four-dimensional space and watch the changing three-dimensional shadows it casts, just as a cube casts changing two-dimensional shadows. In 1954, Salvador Dalí painted a tesseract in Corpus Hypercubus. He understood something remarkable. The human mind can reach toward realities the eyes will never perceive. This is what makes higher dimensions one of science's deepest questions. The limitation may not be in the universe, it may be in us. You are using a three-dimensional sensor to observe a universe that could contain 10 or 11 dimensions. And whatever your senses can detect, you call reality. The two-dimensional being never sees your hand. It only sees the circle your finger leaves behind. And it believes that circle is the whole truth. Right now, you are trapped in 3 dimensions, and somewhere, just beyond the reach of every sense you have ever possessed, the rest of the universe continues.